Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be installing yet another emergency light. This is like my 7th emergency light I have installed up here, but I do have a reason on why I am going to be installing another one. So first of all, if you guys are not familiar with my current emergency lighting setup, I have a generic exit sign emergency light combination over the door. Up here pointing towards the door, I have a Running Man exit sign. I cannot remember the brand of this. Up here, on the outside of this room, we have a 6-volt LED Lumicell emergency light. I like this one. This was a really good price. I got this one for $8, which is really good for this that came with batteries and LED heads. Very bright unit. Going over this way, I have a 6-volt Lumicell emergency light. Similar to the other one, just a lot older. This one came with large incandescent heads, but I converted them to LEDs, which I actually found in a dumpster. These LEDs are meant for 12 volts, so they're not the greatest on here, but they still do work and provide a lot of light. Right here I have another of the same Lumicell emergency light. And in here, I have a StamPro emergency light right here. This is also 6-volt with nice bright LED heads. So there's lots of emergency lights in this main room area, but a place that we don't have good emergency lighting is in this room right here. So here is the new emergency light. I believe this is a fairly generic brand. The brand is Next Light, right there on the edge, on this end right here. So Next Light is the brand, light spelled L-I-T-E. So if this is an LED emergency light, it's fairly bright, and it is okay for damp locations, but I don't need it for damp locations. So if I open it up here, I paid $15 for this. I got this at my local Restore. If you have a Restore in your area, I highly recommend you go to them because you can find some really good prices on some stuff like emergency lighting. Almost all of my emergency lighting came from there, except for that StamPro unit in the washroom and my emergency light exit sign combo over the door. So here is the unit right here. So I'm on a stool in my room here, just so you know whereabouts I am. And first we're going to mount the electrical box, which is going to be an octagon box. This is the slim version of, this is a 1-inch deep version. There's also 2-inch deep ones. There's one in there somewhere, I'm not sure where it is, but the 1-inch one's going to work, and I'm going to center this over the door. I thought about putting it up here to light up this little loft area, because sometimes I hang out up here, but very rarely. It's mostly just for storage, and you don't really need a lighting in an attic. So it'd be more efficient to have it right here, so I'm going to center it over top of the door, and we're going to screw in this box right here. I have now secured our box in place with these 2 screws, so this is pretty solid. That's not going anywhere. So now we need to get power to this box. As you can see, I already have an NMD90 connector in it. So I'm going to be running Lumex, like this stuff right here, non-metallic cable. But this is yellow, meaning that it's 12 gauge. So I'm going to be doing some of this stuff, 14 gauge. Because this is on a 15 amp circuit, and you only need a 14 gauge for a 15 amp circuit. And it does not have to be in conduit because it is over 5 feet or 1.5 meters. Technically this stuff right here, and going down there to that receptacle from this side of the wall, is not mechanically protected, so that is not up to code and is a code violation. So that is not proper, but over here it's over 1.5 meters, so it's okay. So the path I'm going to take to run my Lumex is going to go straight out here onto the stud, because I measured it and that is within a foot, and I'm pretty sure it's 1 foot of a box that you have to fasten non-metallic cable. And then it will come up, go through here, and then once it's on the up top there, so once it's up top there, that will come out up there, and then it can loop down around and into this emergency light. So now we're going to start wiring our box here, or at least bringing wires into the box. And I'm actually going to be running 2 Lumexes into it, because one's going to be going it out to another device, which you will see in another video. That other device will be another emergency light, but I wanted to make 2 different videos since there's 2 separate lights. So here's going to be our Lumex going out to the second light, and here's the Lumex going in, or the line. There we go, those just need to be snug, not too tight. So now for this we need to use a 14-2 times 2 or 12-2 times 2, meaning that it will accept up to 2 12-2s or 14-2s or a 14-3 or 12-3. You can't use just a 14-2 or a 12-2 staple when you have more than that under it. So now we can drill through this top plate right here to get out into the other side. So now before we go any further on the other side, we're going to get everything done on this side right here. So I'm going to strip both of these. And now since the one side that's going to go to another light I'm going to be installing is still on this reel, I'm going to cut it right here. And this is going to be very temporarily, probably only for a day, until I install the other emergency light. Just to make this safe, it'd honestly probably be okay on the roll. I doubt anything would short, but just to be safe, I'm going to cap off our hot right there. And I'm not worried about the neutral or the ground, so those can just sit up here for now. Let's not have that touching a metal sign, just in case, but I'm sure that's going to be fine. Back over here, the very first thing we are going to do, hopefully you can see this box okay from where you are, is first thing we're going to do is ground the box. So I'm going to take our ground wire right here, wrap this around our ground wire, crimp it down, make sure we're going clockwise so that's not going to come out. If anything, that will just get tighter as we tighten our screw. There we go, that will be a solid ground connection. And now I'm not sure if our emergency light has a ground on it, but I really don't think it does. So we're going to leave this, we're going to go like that. We're going to explain. Put our grounds at the back of the box. Now we're going to take our neutrals next. Strip both of these. This is 14 gauge, so we'll use the 14 gauge on our stripper. Now our two hots. One of these Lumexes came from an older roll, and you can really feel which one is which. When you're cutting it, the old one is much harder to strip. So now we're going to get our emergency light. So now on our emergency light mounting bracket right here, I have a few knockouts I need to knock out. One of them is this middle one. There is our middle one. We also have a few ones to knock out right there. That's two. So now I don't want to make these splices in the emergency light, so I'm going to stick the emergency light wires that we're going to need through here, and I'm going to wire it up to here. So now we're going to splice together all of our neutrals right here. There we go. Now we will do the same for our hot conductors, or our blacks. So now I'm going to coil these up in the back of our box right here with neutrals first. And then our hots. Make sure these are out of the way of your box screw when that goes in, because that's always kind of fun when you go to open a box and it starts arcing and sparking. So now we're going to take I'm going to take this right here, snap this on our screws. So now that this is mounted correctly, it's a little bit flimsy, but that's okay. I'm going to push our conductors back into here because they're really, really long. And then this should just snap onto here in some way, shape, or form. So there we go, this is snapped in. Here's how our emergency light looks, and I think the heads are actually angled pretty good where they are. One looks over this way, the other looks over this way. This will light it up pretty evenly in here, I think. But our job's not over yet. We still have to make our splices on this side. So I should also mention I'm gonna go into this live, but it's always a better idea to turn things off. I'm gonna be risky and be bad today. So here is our Lumex coming down from up there. So I'm gonna pull this staple because this one's not big enough and replace it with one for two 14-2s. First, we're going to put our grounds together. Alright, well there we go. So let's give it a true AC power outage test. Turn off that circuit. As you can see, that's also on the same circuit as these emergency lights right here. So if I turn off our light in here, this is how it lights it up in here. I think both heads are in a pretty good spot. It's really hard for me to show you what the light looks like in this room, being this room is so tiny, but these provide a half decent amount of light. This is what it looks like. So that's enough light for emergency lighting if I just need to get something out of here, like a big flashlight or any sort of tool. That's plenty of light. Well guys, that's about it for this video. I may be making a test video of all my emergency lights in here in the new year, so let me know if you guys want to see that. But other than that, that's about it for this video. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.